Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. We are not registered financial advisors. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I got a first time on the channel, so special guest for sure, Jeff Shorty, Chief Equity Strategist at Simplify ETFs. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you taking the time. And today we're going to focus on two of Simplify ETF's income-oriented ETFs because that's what my channel focuses on. So in case my audience doesn't know, I'll just show the ETFs real quick here, and then we'll get into explaining them, of course. So we're going to look at SBAR, the Simplify Barrier Income ETF, as well as XV, which is the simplified Target 15 distribution ETF. So these are relatively new. I would say they're not super new, but they definitely seem income oriented to me. So
Mhm.
I was looking at the description and how these work and how they generate the distribution rates. And it looks like the main focus is 30 barrier put option. So it looks like it's put options here. It's not, for example, a classic covered call strategy. So can you explain?
Sure.
Maybe we could start with SBAR. What is the strategy? How are you generating the distributions on these?
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity today. SBAR and XV just turned 1 year old this week, so we've got a
Hmm.
1 year anniversary for both of them. And the goal of both of them is to provide, low double-digit distribution rates driven by two components, by treasury income as well as income from selling barrier options. So a barrier option is simply an option contract where if you sell it to a counterparty, you get a premium, and that
Yeah.
premium gets distributed in the form of a distribution rate. And the way that contract works is it's a 1 year tenor, and at the end of the contract, if the three underlying indices do not break the barrier of 30% in the case of SBAR, you have no participation in any sort of drawdown in the market. So if the worst performing of those three indices is down 29%, it didn't break the barrier of 30%, so you would have no drawdown risk with that particular contract. So SBAR, we're laddering up to 55 plus barrier option positions with varying maturity dates and varying strike prices. So that affords us to distribute that low double digit distribution rate for investors. So income seeking with an element of risk mitigation with that 30% barrier in the case of SBAR. In the case of XV, Roman numeral 15 stands for the 50, targeted 15 distribution rate.
Yeah.
It has a barrier threshold of 25%. So a little more risk, but you could compensate it from extra distribution rate.
Okay, so can you explain when someone is actually buying SBAR? So my audience knows what call options are, what put
Yep.
options are. Just to be clear, you're writing the put option. These are put both strategies or both ETFs are doing put options. When you say the
Correct.
three indices, I'm assuming S&P, Nasdaq, Russell 2000. Like what are you actually owning when you're buying SBAR, when you're
Yeah.
buying XV?
Yeah, so if your audience members have ever used a structured note where you exchange principal for an outcome-oriented strategy, we're doing the same thing. So it's a structured note of structured notes. SBAR has over 50 structured notes. XV has about 20 structured notes. And the performance of the NAV is going to really be depending on what happens to equities. Specifically, if equity drawdowns occur and it's material below the threshold level, then you participate. So what we're doing is we're underwriting equity drawdown risk and we're getting paid a premium for that risk that we're taking. And investors enjoy that return or that distribution rate, assuming the worst of those three indices, NASDAQ, Russell, or Russell 2000, NASDAQ, or S&P 500, as long as they don't close below that 30% barrier, you do not participate in the drawdown. Now, if you just look at the indices, not the strategies, just look at the three indices
Yeah.
historically, over the last 35 years on a rolling one year basis with weekly maturities, the worst performing of those three indices only broke the 30% barrier 7.8% of the time. So we're highlighting equity returns, not the product returns. We're saying, just empirically looking at the data, it's a pretty low probability. It's not zero, but it is a lower probability, less than 10% chance that you would break the barrier. Most of the time equities go up, but there can be episodes of volatility like COVID in 2020, global financial crisis, where if you own that contract at expiration and it broke the barrier, you would participate. Now, what we do is we diversify and we diversify those maturities so no single data point can drive the majority of the performance of the strategy.
Okay, so would you say this is kind of a lower risk way to invest in the overall equity market or the overall US equity market with these three indexes? Is it it's a lower risk way of getting exposure to them with those puts, and you're getting that cash flow as well. Do I have that right?
Yeah, so I mean, we can all buy a low cost equity solution, right? That goes up one, goes down one, you
Yeah.
participate, right? People are very comfortable with that. For those that have been attracted to an income producing investment vehicle, such as a covered call strategy, you're certainly going to get the income, but you're giving up upside to get the income. So anything in investment, there's always a trade-off, right? So covered call strategies, you're getting, 7, 8%, and you're capping your upside. What I like about what we're doing is you get higher income than the covered call strategies, but you also have this corridor of risk mitigation of about 30% for SBAR, 25% for XV. So it's kind of like combining covered calls with a buffer fund. They're both put together to achieve two objectives, and this is what we hear from our clients every single day. They want income and they want risk mitigation. And so
Okay.
SBAR XV checks both those boxes. So investors that want a monthly distribution from these ETFs, it happens the first of each month. And in the event there's equity drawdown, which none of us like, we've experienced that as of late with the war in Iran, you have a corridor of protection or risk mitigation, and as long as the contracts don't close below that barrier, then you really don't have a drawdown risk within the portfolio. So risk is a difficult thing to define, but if investors want income and they want some sort of mitigation of equity drawdown risk, to me, this is a really good solution that can meet both objectives for those investors.
Yeah, so cover call strategy is very, very popular in the income space. I'm glad you mentioned them. I was gonna ask you, how do these compare to, for example, to a S&P 500 cover call ETF or NASDAQ 100 cover call ETF? Would you say it's a little bit less risky than that with the approximate same level of
Yeah,
income?
well, I would say the income is higher because there's a key feature here that's called the auto call feature. So Simplify was the first to launch an auto call ETF in the form of a barrier option income. The way an auto call works is at the beginning of the contract, you establish the strike prices for the three indices. If after the non-call period, which is typically 3 months, if at the end of the 3 months, all three indices are above the initial value, that position gets called. But unlike accrued interest on a bond, we get to keep that entire premium. And then, so hypothetically, January 1, we write an option, we get 4%. At April 1, all equity markets are up. We can sell another option at 4%. And equity markets are up again in the next quarter, we can sell another one. So you can start stacking premium income, and that's how we can achieve a higher yield or a higher distribution rate than typically you'd see in a covered call strategy. Now, all selling vol or selling option contracts is really a function of volatility. So if we're in a hyper volatile environment like we are right now, and equity markets are trending higher they have in the last week or so, that's a perfect environment to capture extra premium in the form
Mhm.
of a distribution rate. So best case scenario, rising equity markets with higher volatility, you're going to stack that auto call feature is going to allow you to stack premium. Worst case scenario, you break the barrier for every single position. So in our case right now with SBAR, every single Friday for an entire year, the market on a trailing 1 year basis would have to be down more than 30%. If every single Friday for the next year the market was down 30% on a trailing 1 year basis, the entire fund would have that drawdown experience. And think about that. That's a pretty low probability of
Yeah.
that happening. So I think it's a great opportunity to kind of get two key features that our clients look for: income and risk mitigation.
Income and risk mitigation. Okay, so maybe a question I have here is for who is these two products, and before I ask you the differences between the two, because I think it's
Mhm.
very important. For who do you think it's designed for? Do you think it's designed for an equity investor, a fixed income investor? Maybe it's in the middle of the two. Do you think it complements an equity portfolio or it complements a fixed income portfolio? Like, where do you think it fits in someone's portfolio?
Well, I think that if your target function from your client is income, you can
Yeah.
go to fixed income, you can do, high yield bonds. There's lots of ways to get income. I would say it's folks that are looking to get more income than less. That's your first objective.
Yeah.
And then you can source it from, fixed income, which, the returns there are fine, but they're not nearly as exciting as what you'd get in a strategy like this. So I would say, in a 60/40, you take part of the 40% and throw it into incomes. You're gonna get higher income than traditional fixed income,
Yeah.
but less vol than equities. So
So it's
in the
like in the
last
middle.
year, it's a hybrid.
It's
So
a
it's kind of
hybrid.
like a
Okay.
convertible security. Since the strategy launched on SBAR, the realized vol is 10.1, which is about half, maybe 70% of S&P, but not much higher than fixed income. So the vols are going to be what they are because of the way the strategy is designed. We do opportunistically add extra layers of protection with put options to mitigate additional drawdown, which we've seen happen earlier this year. So the whole goal of the strategy would be to have a very stable NAV, which we have achieved, as well as a low double-digit distribution rate, which we have achieved as well. So,
That's a key aspect. So yeah, 10 vol, that's a bit less than the S&P. So like you said, the
mhm.
goal there, stable NAV, consistent distribution. Speaking of distributions, let's check them out here. So I'm looking at SBAR here, and it's been very consistent. I mean, we're talking 28 cents, 25 cents. These are monthly distributions.
Monthly, yep.
Then XV, you have a little bit higher. The rate's a little bit higher, 32 cents, 33 cents, 31, 30. So, do you expect these fairly consistent? I mean, they're varying a little bit, but do you
Yeah.
expect fairly consistent distribution rates with XV, which I'm assuming by the name Target 15, you're going to be looking at approximately 15% distribution rate, and with SBAR, maybe a little bit less than that right now. What is the distribution rate at? About
12.25.
there you go.
Yeah, so
So
the
tell me about the
distribution rate,
distributions and
yeah, the distribution rate is a function of two things. What sort of income are we generating from treasury bills that we buy? Last year there were three rate cuts, right? So we had dropped the distribution rate on SBAR a couple pennies for that change in treasury
okay.
policy, right? And we've been distributing about 28 cents until February. We did 25 cents. And the second component of the distribution rate is what sort of volatility premium can we pick up by equity volatility, right? And we're seeing an increase in that as of the last month and a half or so. So SBAR, we can expect, say, 9 to 11 over a full market cycle. We've been well more north of that, about 12 to 13%, just because we launched right after tariff tantrum of 2025. So we've had a pretty volatile market. In the case of XV, by the Roman numeral definition, we're targeting a 15% distribution rate. We're going to move the different levers within the strategy to achieve that. So if rates go down and volatility goes down, and we've been distributing, like you said, just over 30 cents a share, what would we do to get that rate higher or that distribution rate higher? We would change the barrier of 25%. We might change it to 20% or 15%. So when you lower the barrier, you get more option premium income, which helps that distribution rate. So we have more levers to pull on to achieve that 15%.
Okay.
Whereas in the case of SBAR, every single option is going to have a 30% barrier. So two different outcomes. If people want a stable income, XV is a great strategy for that. If people want a constant barrier of 30%, SBAR provides that. So give an
Okay.
investor's choice on their
Uh,
preferences.
I was just gonna ask what's the difference between the two, but you kind of laid it out there. XV
Mhm.
is more prioritizes maybe slightly higher distribution rate, more consistent distribution rate,
Right.
maybe a little bit more risk or volatility than SBAR, which SBAR is more designed. I'm guessing here for a little bit more downside protection than XV.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, back to that
Okay.
number of over the last 35 years, how often did one of those benchmarks break the barrier 7.8% of the time? In the case of XV, when you're looking at a 25% barrier, that number is more like 11%. So classic investment 101, you take more risk, you should be compensated
Yeah.
more. And that's exactly the premium that we're providing for investors.
Awesome. Awesome. So final question. I think you laid it out all very, very clearly how these two ETFs work, what they're designed for. My final question, I think this is an important one because on my channel, my watchers and what I discuss a lot are covered call ETFs. So there's a
Yep.
million S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, even Russell 2000 covered call ETFs in all different forms and flavors now with weekly distributions, leverage, not leverage. But I
Yep.
forgot to ask you, these two, there's no leverage on these
No
ETFs,
leverage.
right?
No
No leverage.
leverage.
Okay, I
Right.
just want to make that clear. So my final question is, for someone who's a covered call ETF investor, why should they consider these? Why not just stick with the S&P 500 with covered calls? Is it more for more de defense, more stability, would you say?
Yeah, I say there's twofold. Number one is the auto call feature. So imagine being able to write a premium multiple times a year, and we assume about half the fund gets called a year because equities go up more than they go down. So you're going to get that higher yield than traditional fixed income, and I would argue sometimes higher than covered call selling. But the missing ingredient in that covered call strategy, the blind spot in that covered call strategy, if the market goes down 20, yes, you're going to have the income protection, but you're still going to have that drawdown risk.
Yeah.
So if you want to mitigate that equity drawdown risk and get higher distribution rate than covered calls, SBAR XV achieves both those objectives. So to me, the big blind spot of covered calls is the limited downside protection. It is protect a little bit just based on the income, but you don't have an explicit 30% or 25% barrier that you participate if you close below that on the last day of the contract. So we all sensitive to drawdown risk. It's very uncomfortable. It happens. But if you can get higher income with an element of buffer funds from a protection perspective, why wouldn't investors consider that?
Awesome. Yeah, I think that that makes total sense. And I personally get asked all the time, Adrian, with all these covered call strategies, aren't you scared that, option liquidity or there's going to be too much? And why don't we balance it? What are the put option strategies? A lot bit less popular. Well, there you go, guys. These are put option strategies. So I think it could also even diversify your option strategy, if you will,
Yeah.
adding it to a cover call. Now you have one that does put. So that's another form of income diversification
Yeah.
or strategy
Yeah.
diversification.
I love that concept. As a guy that did long only equities for 30 years another organization, my use of these auto call ETFs is really to kind of de-risk against just equity beta. But I like the idea of multiple derivative income sources, whether it's
Hmm.
VIX selling or call option selling. Put a basket together, and you should enjoy more consistency. But I think if the front runner for me is SBAR and XV because you get the two elements put together in one solution, completely liquid. For those of you structure notes on your channel, this is a liquid version of a structure note. You instantly, with one trade of $25, you get 56 baskets or 56 barrier options in SBAR and 20 in XV. So you get instant diversification, no limited counterparty risk because we keep the capital in the portfolio. So to me, it's a really attractive opportunity, and we're more than happy to engage with any of your listeners to ask any questions or any follow-up questions. We're happy to answer them for them.
Perfect. Really appreciate that. And I encourage my audience to go on your on Simplify's website, check out these two ETFs in detail. Within the ETF pages, you even have little clips or
Mhm.
clips of you guys explaining it and going through it. So I highly recommend. And you guys have a contact us form as well on your website as well.
We
So
do.
people, if they have
Yeah.
additional questions, I encourage them to ask those questions because these are a little bit more maybe more complex to understand than a
Yeah.
classic
They
covered
are.
call. But after this conversation with you, I think it's not that complicated, right? So that's it for my questions, Jeff. I think you've been great. You've explained it, and really looking forward to the continued more alternative income products from Simplify. Always checking out what you guys have, and thanks so much. We'll hope to see you soon back on the
All
channel.
right. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too.